Welcome back, Nick Lange's Comic Corner, classic slash non-classic. This is episode number 448 and Doubleshot number 365. One Black Panther trade. The other one I thought was going to be a G.I. Joe trade. Turns out I've actually reviewed that one already. It was Classic G.I. Joe Volume 17. I looked it up on my YouTube channel, so I want to be sure I don't review the same book twice. Yeah, I don't like doing that particularly that much. Alright, first up it's Black Panther by Christopher Priest, the Complete Collection, Volume 3. And this collects issues of the third volume Black Panther, issues 36 to 49 and 56 to 58, also collecting Incredible Hulk, Volume 2, number 33, Thor 370, and a short story from Marvel Doubleshot number 2. Now, all the issues in here, except for 2, are written by Christopher Priest. Issues 57 and 58 are written by Jay Torres. Yeah, it was a filler thing. The artwork is done by Sal Bantino, John Badaviga, Bogdan Wolf, Jorge Lucas, John Bushma, and Ryan Boonham. And surprisingly for the inking for this book, Jimmy Palmioni is not on the inking for this book at all. As a matter of fact, he's not even one of the others. He's not listed as one of the credits on here. Now, I should first talk about Thor 370. There's a reason why that's in here, because there's a two-parter in here where Black Panther goes back in time and actually goes back to a particular issue. He encounters Thor and Loki in the past, along with Two Gun Kid, Kid Colt, and Rawhide Kid. Yeah, 3 Western heroes. And here's kind of the weird thing with Marvel's Western heroes. Nobody talks about them at all. It's like when people think of comic book Western heroes, what's the first one people think of? Jonah Hex from DC. Not Rawhide Kid, Two Gun Kid, and Kid Colt from Marvel. I would say the only one that's actually been referenced in the MC universe is Rawhide Kid, when I believe it was Howard Stark was trying to adapt the comic book into a movie. Of course, the show took. Of course, that was Agent Carter in season 2, and the show took place in 1946. But yeah, basically, this kind of sets up toward the end of Christopher Priest's run. Yeah, it's pretty much over a little over a year worth of issues in here. Now, there is a storyline called Enemy Day 2. Now, it has nothing to do with the Wolverine version of this particular name of a story. This is just basically sort of a in-name sequel to the second arc of the series. Though it's not as weird as that arc, where basically about a guy who took over Wakanda trying to basically force the U.S. into a war with Wakanda. This one's a bit different because basically Christopher Priest writes Black Panther to be somewhat of a dick, where he basically buys out Stark Enterprises for some reason, well, like Stark International, and briefly becomes its CEO. Yeah, and he also, yeah, he does pretty much don this particular, he's not wearing a cape in here, he wears that for a few issues. Yeah, and the most prominent character appears in here, who is not related to Black Panther. Tony Stark appears in a good number of these issues. I mean, he appears in a lot of these issues. Surprisingly, no Captain America, but we also get appearances by Man-Ape, I believe Ulysses Claw, and Kilgore, I think it is, and Wolverine. Yeah, they also show up in here as well, along with, of course, Everett Ross still makes appearances in here. The Hulk story is just, well, it's just a book written by Christopher Priest, and it was published at the same time as this book, and he just happened to be the filler writer for it, so they decided to throw that in. Let's see, who else they throw in here? Let's see. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that Mephisto appeared in here. He was basically, yeah, for some reason, Christopher Priest made him sort of a semi-regular character throughout the first half of his run. No idea why, he just, well, did. We also see former Avengers liaison Henry Peter Gyrick. Yeah, he appears in here. Let's see, we also see Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, Namor, Pretty much rest of the defenders who were basically defenders in the 2000s basically was Valkyrie, Nighthawk, Hellcat. Yeah, kind of fight against the Order. We also have Iron Fist. Yeah, he shows up in here. Luke Cage showed up in the first volume. Yeah. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, for some reason, Iron Fist decides to adapt the costume he wore toward the end of the Power Man Iron Fist run, which at that point, Christopher Priest, then at that point, known as James Owsley, that because he was originally known as, his original name was James Owsley, legally changed his name to Christopher Priest after he and his wife divorced. I heard this from when Joe Quesada was guest starring on Kill Smith's podcast. That's how I found out that James Owsley and Christopher Priest are the same person. I never knew that initially. I kind of heard the name before. I knew the name Christopher Priest because I knew he was an awesome writer because I read up some books from the 90s basically, and not when it originally came out. Just I read it like in the last several years, but yeah. Let's see. They also threw in here. I'm trying to think who else I threw in here. Let's see here. Oh, and Tony Stark stars in the Enemy of State storyline. Yeah, he's in basically all 5 parts. Yeah. Yeah, him and Wolverine are in all 5 parts. And throughout most of the storyline, Wolverine is fighting Iron Man for some reason. Yeah, it's quite bizarre. And here's kind of the thing. The Civil War hasn't started yet at all. And yet we already have a hero versus hero. We also see a lineup of the Avengers. I believe this is basically just before Kurt Busiek left the book. The lineup at this point is Yellow Jacket, Captain America, the Carol Danvers version of Miss Marvel, Quicksilver, Iron Man, Vision, and Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is wearing sort of a variant on her Jack Kirby costume at this point. Yeah, that's basically what it is. She's wearing a variant of that costume. I believe this came out in like 2000s. Let's see here. It does not say particularly when these issues came out. Yeah, because they take out the trade. Because if you find these issues individually, they will put at the bottom of the issue of one of the pages basically what month these books came out. So yeah, for some reason they take them out of here. Now, Tony Stark is a huge player in the Enemy of State storyline, and that takes pretty much like 41 to 45. That's simply the way it is. Yeah. Then we have the 2-parter time travel story, and what else? Oh yeah, Magneto shows up in here as well. But the last few issues are simply put, the last like 2 are just simply just set up for basically when Black Panther gives up basically T'Challa gives up being Black Panther and hands off the role to Christopher Cole, who is also known as White Tiger. He pretty much takes up the role of basically Black Panther for basically a year before, for the last like 13 issues of Christopher Priest's run, well, considered part of his run. But 50s and 58 is not part of his, was not written by him. It was written by a fill-in writer, and those take place before he gave up the throne. So of the remaining 13 issues, he only did 11 of them. So basically, you have 11 issues of Christopher Cole as Black Panther. Yeah. My guess is the reason why Christopher Priest just did this because he just wanted to end it on a pretty good note. But I was kind of thinking at that particular point that this is kind of kind of a bad idea to do, to have T'Challa become a supporting character in his own book and replace him with somebody else. Yeah, it's one of the most bizarre things I have ever seen a writer do. Take the main character and replace him for like a year and have him become a supporting character in his own title and have somebody else take up the role. Well, this is not the first time this has happened. For a title, basically, starting a particular character. But Iron Man has done this. So has Captain America's done it too, along with Spider-Man. So Black Panther's kind of joining those particular people where the original main character becomes a supporting character in his own book, and someone else replaces him as the main character. Yeah, so he's like the fourth character this has happened to. For Thor, Thor is the most recent one they did it for, where he was the original main character, now he's just a supporting character, and someone else is taking over the spot of the main character. Yeah, like I said, Thor is the most recent one they did this for. So basically, about 5 people have done this so far. At this point, I think Black Panther is like the fourth person to do this. My guess is the reason why Christopher Priest left probably because he had enough after doing like this for a year. I don't really know why he decided to replace T'Challa, basically just give up the throne for a year for his last year of his run. I honestly don't have any idea for that. If I meet him, I will ask him that question. But the issues in here are really, really good. There's only about just a few story arcs in here. Basically, you have a 2-parter deal with a futuristic version of Black Panther, a 3-parter where he fights Iron Fist, the MSA story, a 2-part time travel story, and the 2-part simply sets up the last year of the run. Yeah, Thor 370 is basically an issue which Priest wrote as Jim Mousley, and my guess is the reason why I decided to throw it in here because 46 and 47 were just basically Black Panther time traveling type area story, and they threw it in there just because it's the original story. So you basically get 2 perspectives of the story: one with Black Panther and one without Black Panther. Yeah. The Marvel Doubleshot #2 is just Christopher Priest writing Doctor Doom. That's really the whole point of it, and the artwork is. It looks like it's very Alex Ross inspired, but the artwork in here is done by Paulo Rivera. It's actually really good artwork, but it looks like it's very painted style. I actually like the style. From what I can tell, this I believe was the same artist who did the Doom miniseries that came out in 2000. Yeah, I've read it, but I recognize his art style because I've seen the covers for that series, so I think this was the same artist who did it. So, yeah. This really good. There's one other trade left with this, and it's just the Chris McCall issues as Black Panther. Yeah. So I give this a 9 out of 10. Oh, and Chris McCall does come back as he showed up recently in the last issue of Black Panther: War of Wakanda. And no, he does not take up the role of Black Panther. Black Panther does give a new costume though, but yeah, 9 out of 10. All right. Next up is Injustice Gods Among Us, Year 2, Volume 1. Even last time I reviewed Injustice Gods Among Us, I reviewed the first volume. I reviewed the first volume of Year 1 of this particular series. Why am I reviewing already Volume 2? Because it's the only other one they have, the library had. So they don't have it. So basically, this is the second year of the book. Now, this contains the first 6 out of the 12 issues of Year 2. Chapters-wise, these are chapters 1 through 12. Now, from the second year onwards, the chapters for these particular things. Now, in the first year, each issue basically printed 3 chapters, and the first year was 36 chapters long. The second year, from 2nd to 4, it's basically 24 chapters, though with year 5 is actually a little bit longer than that. And each one in this book basically prints only 2 chapters. There's a couple deaths in here. In the first issue, they kill off Kyle Rayner. Yep, they kill off Kyle Rayner. And they also kill off Chip, who is the talking squirrel in DC Universe. And in case you're wondering, yes, he did die in the DC Universe prior to Flashpoint. He was killed off in Green Lantern Mosaic #2. He was killed by being run over with a car. Seriously, they kill off this character hit and run. And here, it's Sinestro who kills him. And that's the weird thing with Year 2. Almost all the deaths in Year 2 are caused by Sinestro. Just like how, kind of like how in Year 1, Superman is the one who caused almost all deaths except like 1 or 2. There's a couple plot threads in here. Basically, of Wonder Woman and Batman basically being bad throughout this whole entire particular year of story. Yeah, for Batman because his back is broken. For Wonder Woman, she's in a coma, and she remains in a coma until year 3. That's basically what it is. This book is just awesome. Tom Taylor does a fantastic job with the writing. With artwork by Bruno Rodado, Mike S. Miller, Selim Crawford, and Julian Hagenauer Burt. With artwork by David Lopez, Jeremy Rapnick, Santa Claus of Our Record Studio. Yeah. I also give this book a 9 out of 10. It's actually quite old of a trade. Yeah, for some reason I was very lucky to get my hands on this thing. And this trade is, believe it or not, this trade is 2 years old, and this is in okay condition for a 2-year-old trade. Usually, for 2-year-old trades, they're actually in better condition than this. Yeah, but this is actually still really, really good. So 9 out of 10. All right, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is going to be basically 2 trades that I personally own. It will be 1 DC trade and 1 Marvel trade. Okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.